Good evening, Facebook. This is Dr. Sharita, and I am here tonight for another one of our live interviews with one of our phenomenal contributing authors in the Love Letters to My Girls 100 Black Women Speak to the Hearts of Black Women and Girls anthology project, Mrs. Corinne Green. She
Hi.
is um, she is the founder and CEO of HR Mom LLC. She is a mother and a wife and a really phenomenal, wonderful woman. We actually go way back.
Telling ages here.
I'm not going to tell the age and I'm not going to say how many years, but she was
Decades.
a student at Westchester. She was a resident assistant and I was a resident director. And that was a lifetime ago. Ooh, I'm not going to say how many years.
It was good developmental time.
Yes, it was. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I am excited to be here with you tonight to talk about the project and, to thank you for, hearing what this mission was about and deciding that you wanted to be a part of it. And before we get into why you decided to be a part of it, I want you to share with our viewers who you are and what you do and what you're about.
Okay, so I am, as Sarita said, I'm Corinne Green. I am at first and most valuable title and role is that of mom and mother and wife. So I am the mother to two lovely, beautiful, awesome daughters. And I am also a adjunct instructor of communications, in which I teach public speaking and lots of communication business related courses. I also operate HR Mom, which is a local HR consulting firm in which we help small businesses really focus on their HR functions. There is talent development, or even business strategy. We sort of provide hands-on support in which we assist our clients in starting small and finishing big.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So you were actually one of the first people to sign up for the project.
Yeah.
So, I think I just sent you an email about it.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was it about the project that, just resonated with you that made you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, so what resonated with me most was the idea of having these stories and voices documented. So many times we talk about in communication, verbal exchange, but we don't really have a written resource to be able to go back to and reference. So I really like writing, I like journaling, I like reading. So for me to be able to gather these stories and these words of encouragement and then have a long-lasting documented resource to see and reference just meant so much to me. So that resonated with me, that it was a document. And then the second piece is that it was strictly targeted towards brown girls and brown and Black women. I think that there isn't a lot of resources for us as we go through those developmental stages in life. So to have those stories shared and come directly from other brown and Black women lets me know that it's authentic and it comes directly from their experiences. And it's clearly, obviously, something I would have wanted to leave for my daughters as well. So that, for me, it was like a no-brainer. It was near and dear to my heart. And I just felt like I had to jump on at any level, any capacity possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like how you mentioned, having it, document these words documented. And I think that speaks to one of the goals of the project. Obviously we want to present the book, to women, but I don't want it to be a book that goes on the shelf. And I don't want it to be a book that gets stored in some electronic device that people never read. And I'm actually thinking that it won't be available in ebook form. I really want it to be more like a keepsake, like hardcover keepsake, beautifully designed, that a mother might want to gift to a daughter might want to gift to a mother, a best friend, something that would, be on the coffee table, like on display or something like that. Because I just, I could show you my bookcases. Got a whole lot of books that I've never opened.
Yeah.
I bought them with the intent to read them, but I haven't read them yet. And I think this book is going to be so powerful that I don't want it to be relegated to the position of the average book.
Yeah.
And I think that, in general, African peoples and brown peoples and Black peoples across the world tend to have a heavy oral tradition.
Yeah.
But I think that in our generations, that is getting lost. So this is a way, to help contribute to that, historical, pride and storytelling, not necessarily about, our culture, but more so about our experiences and what we've learned and what we want to share with another woman, a girl, from those experiences, the wisdom that has come out of that, and just have the ability to use our words to inspire, to uplift, to motivate, and to empower other women and girls on their journey. So that's really, I appreciate you making that point about documenting, these words and kind of saving them.
Yeah, and it won't be it won't sit around collecting dust, right? Because whether you're 4, 14, or 40, there's going to be a story in there for you. And whatever you're going through or need some support on, to be able to use that as a reference material, right? To be able to go and grab it and say, oh, let's see what Auntie so-and-so said.
Right.
Because, that's the goal, to be auntie, right?
Yeah.
So, to be able to say, okay, this isn't the first time this has happened. I'm not the one and only. Sometimes life trials forces us to believe that they're, going through this alone and there are no other experiences. So having that as a resource to be able to reference is amazing.
So tell us about your letter. What are you going to be writing about?
Okay, so my letter, I am so excited about it. I've started writing my letter. I'm putting some finishing touches on it because the deadline's coming up. But my letter is all about being bold. I specifically chose that topic because for me, in my experiences, I found that was the characteristic and skill set that I needed very early on. I'm a young professional. I was a young wife. I was a young mother. And as I struggled to find my voice in different areas, I realized that it took a certain level of boldness for me to hone in my inner self to be able to be as successful or as active as I wanted to be. And that boldness came from folks around me cultivating that, but then also me cultivating it within myself. So recognizing that, you need to be heard, right? That you need to be seen, and that, your voice and your presence, I say this a lot, that's our most powerful tool as Black women. Our presence alone speaks volumes, and the voice that we tend to place in people's lives, our voice means a lot as well. So to be seen, to be heard, to use our presence, use our voice, and that's boldness.
The thing, even I know I've been guilty of this, and I certainly know other women who have done the same thing, where you're bringing value to the table, without a doubt, that, but you also recognize that not everyone else around the table recognizes that, or will acknowledge it, even if they do recognize it. And so often we shrink back, because we also know that when we are bold, that is misinterpreted as another B word. Or as, being aggressive, overly assertive, and things like that, where we don't have the liberty to really stand in our power. Even when we're using that power to help the other people who are at the table. So we've been conditioned to shrink back and to not be bold. So, that message is definitely an important one to share, because we have to counteract that conditioning and say it's okay for you to be who you are, to recognize the value in that, and to stand tall and bold in that, and represent at whatever table you're sitting
at.
and other people's issues with your boldness is just that, their issues.
Their issues, right? It's just their issues. So that's been the checks and balances that I use for myself, right? When I'm questioning, because there are times where I second guess myself, right? And there are times where I'm worried about perceptions or what others might think, or, how did that come off? But then I have to ask myself, if I am not bold in this situation, can I live with the consequence or the resolve of what happens, and knowing that that's not my character, right? That I want to be known for one that, can stand in their truth, right? And can be able to express themselves. And I want to have that associated with my character. So if I take this moment and withdraw, my gosh, they're going to get the complete opposite perception of what I wanted them to have. So I have to challenge myself. I see it in my career, and I teach public speaking and in communications, and I'm often always the one that's, have to be bold in some ways. But there are moments where I question that, what's that perception like? How am I going to be perceived? And I ultimately have to tell myself that, there is no change in how I want to present myself, right?
Now, so you are a mother of two girls. Now, how
two beauties.
Yes. How are you teaching them to be bold?
So this is interesting because they are two very different young ladies. My oldest is 15, my youngest is 9. I like to say they are, those who know me personally and know my girls, and I know that they are both sides of me, right? My older daughter, she is very sometimes withdrawn and will second guess herself. And then I'll have to have conversations with her to say, well, what do you own, right? Like, what is the piece that you want folks to walk away from when you're interacting? And then why did you withdraw? So I do a lot of processing with her as to why she chose to withdraw, and then clearly helping her process through. That's not for you to own. That's someone else's issue if they have a problem with, that you're articulate, or that you're very vocal, or that you seem to be very assertive, and that's okay. Is that how you are you most comfortable? Are you presenting your best version of self?
Right.
My younger daughter, she could probably write the letter on boldness. At 9 years old, she is a powerhouse. She owns every aspect of her personality, good, bad, or indifferent. She's very accountable to who she is. So I think that she is naturally a bold person, right? But I do the same with her in her space, helping her to understand and helping her to advocate for herself, helping her to understand her voice and her opinions, and how to stand in her truths, and how to, back herself, how to back herself up with support and data and all those different things. So I do a lot of processing that with them as well.
So the key there, you didn't say this, but it was embedded in what you said, is that boldness is something that, it has to be nurtured.
Yep.
And it has to be controlled, but it needs to be controlled by you, not from those outside of you. So I think that is a very valuable lesson for our viewers tonight, to take away as it relates to boldness.
Yep, I definitely agree.
Yes. So, we are with the project, the Love Letters to My Girls anthology, 100 Black Women Speak to the Hearts of Black Women and Girls. Our goal is to bring 100 women together, and we are so close to that goal. We are at 79 authors right now. Yes.
Nice.
So we are still pushing to hit that 100. Now, the book is a definite go. And we will have 100 letters, even if we don't have 100 authors. But I really want 100 authors. And I know
Yeah.
that we can hit that number. I know that there are women who are watching this now. And I know you're watching because I see your names on here saying that you're watching. And there are women who are going to watch the replay for whom this message is going to resonate. And something in them is, is just kind of going to be nudged a little bit. And there'll be a small, desire to participate, but there's going to be something that keeps them from
Yeah.
signing up. And more than likely, it's going to be some type of fear, either they're afraid that they don't write well enough, that their message isn't valuable, or even that, well, I don't have time to do it. But we know as far as time goes, you make time for what's important to you.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
500 to 600 words. It's not a 25-page chapter. So,
Right.
Sit down for 2 hours and rest your feet and write your letter.
Yeah.
But for those who have some other kind of mindset types of things going on that's keeping them from joining us on this mission, what would you say to that woman?
So to that woman, I would say to think back to a time in your life where you wish that you had some guidance or words of encouragement or some relatability, someone you could relate to. And if you were not able to get that support that you needed, you did not have a reference, then that's a reason to provide that for someone else, right? So that they will be able to have that support that they need. So don't second guess and doubt whether or not your story is valuable, because there is someone that needs that, right? And there is someone that's going to need that experience and someone that's going to relate to that. We talk about this book reaching women across the world. You can't tell me that there isn't a woman that needs to hear your portion of the story, the experience, good, bad, or indifferent, right? So I think that, that in and of itself is fear holding you back, right? In terms of an advocacy around writing, there's lots of supports in place, right? Get another sister with you to say, hey sis, can you help me proofread this? Or should we, help me write some things? Or how does this sound to you? Or, clearly, getting some additional support around building that for you. And if you do still are stuck with that fear, then this is the first time to try it and conquer it, right? And step right into it, to be bold, right? To be bold and say, I'm going to step out there and put myself out there a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Pulling on another girlfriend, to help you
and
get it out.
It's something that we sometimes struggle with, that we're not comfortable doing. We have trust issues, or, we second guess our abilities to make and maintain those authentic relationships and connections. But to be able to say, hey, there are times when asking for help or asking for support is 100% bold and authentic.
Right.
That's a certain level of wholeness and a certain level of understanding who you are and what you need, and being able to gather that support and gather and address your needs that makes you who you are.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So for those of you who maybe this is the first time you're tuning into one of our interviews, or the first time that you're hearing about this project, the Love Letters to My Girls, 100 Black Women Speak to the Hearts of Black Women and Girls is an anthology project designed to uplift and motivate and inspire and empower our sisters around the world with these short but powerful love letters that speak to the joys and the pains and the discomforts of life, but that will help push them forward on their journey. That will, motivate them to give something another try, to not give up, to love themselves, to be accepting of the love that's offered to them, and a whole lot of other good things and good messages that are going to be captured in this book. But we also want to, kind of reignite this whole idea of sisterhood, and really come together to support each other and to love on each other. And this book is one simple but very powerful way that we can do that. We believe that, a book is something that is accessible to far more many people than, a live event may be, or coaching may be. So our goal is to get this book into the hands of as many Black women and girls around the world as we possibly can. So to do that, we will be doing some crowdfunding activities. So you all will be able to support us in funding the donations of copies of the book to organizations and groups that serve Black women and girls around the world. Because we don't want, a $20 or a $25 price tag to be what keeps this message from getting into the hands of a woman or a girl who needs it,
Absolutely.
because we don't underestimate the power of our words. We don't underestimate the power of your words. And for that woman, that young girl who may never see a coach, who may never go to counseling, but who needs someone to be speaking life into them at the moment that they need it, we believe that this book has the power to do that. And we want to
Absolutely.
make sure that every woman who wants it, every girl that wants it, will be able to have a copy of it. So we're going to be looking for your support with that. When we do the virtual launch for the book in the fall, profits from the virtual launch are going to go to support the funding of at least two scholarships. We're going to give a scholarship to at least one woman 21 and under and one over 21. And the funds will be able to be used for education training or business startup. Hopefully, we'll be able to do more than the two scholarships. And we're working on setting something up with that so that you'd be able to make those. You could obviously purchase the book during the launch, but if you just want to donate to the scholarship fund, so that you'd be able to do that as a tax deductible donation. So we're working on that, working on a couple of other things as well. And we're going to need your support to make this happen. So many of our sisters, our moms, our aunties, our friends, they need this. They need us. We need them. So we're going to come together and make this happen. I hope that you join us in this project as a contributing author. If you're a Black woman with something powerful and valuable to say to another sister, but if you're not going to be an author, or if you're not a Black woman or girl, but you still want to support the mission, there will be plenty of ways for you to do that. And if you go to loveletterstomygirls.com, you can actually sign up for our project updates. Will periodically send you email messages to keep you up to date with what's going on. We're going to ask for your feedback on the cover design and our t-shirt design and all of that good stuff. So you'll be able to walk with us through this process. And it will be periodic updates. We are not going to be sending you daily email messages, probably not even weekly, because we respect your time. But we do need your support. So please identify, at least one way that you'd be able to support us in this project. So let's see. I'm just looking at comments right now. If Angie is watching, Melanie, Aubrey is watching, Urena, Randy. Yes, Angie says she loves the idea of the coffee table book.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got a couple other things just I'm working on in the background. And once they're, finalized, we'll be making announcements about them. I do want to share that we have a media sponsor. So we'll be having a special edition of a magazine devoted to the Love Letters to My Girls project. So I'm really excited about that. Some of our authors will be able to be featured in that. I've gotten two, I guess I'm going to call them VIP contributing authors, for lack of a better word, who are participating in the project. I'm going to share their names soon, and I'm working on a few more. We're working on sponsorships to help with the donations of the book and to get the word out about the project. So everything is coming together, and I'm just thankful, that God saw fit to give this idea to me, and that I trusted him enough to take action on the seed that he planted. And I'm thankful for all of the women who have already raised their hands to say that they wanted to be a part of this. Miss Corinne included in that number. So, as we close out this interview, Corinne, I want to ask that you share a few empowering words with our audience.
Oh, just a few. Okay, just a few. So more recently, I've been thinking about this whole idea of stepping out on faith and being able to, take assignments or take tasks that you may not feel prepared for. And one of the things that sort of been resonating with me over the last, I'll say, year or so, because I've been doing a lot of development of self, is, God can't, and I think I said this in several other videos, God cannot order steps that you won't take. Right. So, we talk about, our steps are ordered and there's this path, and whether your higher power, whatever your higher power may be, that you're on, but you just assume that that's going to happen organically. Right. And there are some, don't get me wrong, the Lord is in the blessing business. Right. So there are some things that happen by blessings, but then there are other things that happen by pure, stepping out on faith and pure work. So being able to take those baby steps, this might be a small step for some, you mentioned new writers or individuals questioning their voice or their experiences. And then this may be a big step for others. So I know I'm excited. I'm excited about the book getting to the hands of girls. I'm excited about being a co-author. I'm excited about it being a print book. There was time where we were not allowed to have see pages and whole books. So it means something to me that I can touch and feel and smell the pages of a book. I'm a true nerd. But there's something about that that's rich for me and that's joyful. So I love you all. I definitely am excited about this, and I hope that you would join us and continue to support brown and Black women and girls around the world.
Thank you, Corinne. Thank you for sharing that inspiring message. And to all of those of you who are watching live, who are watching the replay, I just want to remind you that in your words lies the power to inspire, to uplift, to motivate, and to empower. So ignite the power in your words. Thank you all for your time. Good night.
Good night.